On 7th of August 2018, I received a call early in the morning. But this time, the answer, the voice that came back, was not the familiar voice, was not the voice I was in love with. I was falling aimlessly. I was lost. I was shattered. I wanted to understand his mindset when he was in that operation. I wanted to understand why he did what he did. "30 is an age when people have already decided what they want to do, where they want to be, whom they want to spend their life with, and what their career is going to be. But for me, that was the age when I decided to take a different path, a path which led to me wearing this uniform today." Jai Hind, my name is Captain Kanika Rane. I'm an officer in the Indian Army and a proud wife of Major Kaustubh Rane, Bar to Sena Medal. When I was approached to give this talk, the first thing that rung in my mind, the question that was going around in my mind was, what is that one bit that I want to share with every one of you? What is that one takeaway that I want all of you to have from the story that I'm about to narrate? And the only answer that I got was this: every person is living a different life. They have different mindsets, they have different situations under which they have different perceptions. So what I would do today is leave it up to you to decide what your prime takeaway is going to be. But one thing that I want to ensure that reaches up to you is this: that perseverance and determination is the only thing that can change your life at any moment that you want it to. At a very early age, I had realized that I am an ambitious person. I had intricate plans. I knew where, what, when, and how I'm going to do what I want to do. But like they say, life happens when you're busy planning it. And so did mine. After completing my engineering, my MBA, and working in certain companies, today here I am wearing Indian Army officer's uniform. But why is that so? At the age of 20, I met Major Kaustubh Rane. At that time, Kaustubh Rane. And I must say that I was floored by his charm, by his mischievousness, by his bravery, a complete and weird mixture of courage and liveliness. These are the things that made him him. When I first met him, I could not understand that how can a person be so mischievous, at the same time so serene. We became friends and eventually the best friends. I had never had a friend whom I could share even the slightest bit of my life with. And that is why I was extremely grateful for him to be in my life. Eventually we fell in love and we decided to get married. Throughout the journey that we have shared, we have been each other's strongest support and the most critical critique. We built a small, beautiful life for ourselves and we were extremely happy with it. But again, life had some other plans for us. On 7th of August 2018, I received a call early in the morning. I was actually expecting a call from the army number that generally my husband would call me from. I was very excited because there was some certain news that I wanted to share with him. And he had called me a day prior to tell me that he will call me in the morning. And that's why I knew that this was his call. So I picked up and I said, "Hello, there is something that I want to tell you." But this time, the answer, the voice that came back, was not the familiar voice, was not the voice I was in love with. It was a complete strange voice, and they were asking to certain that it was me, Mrs. Kaustubh Rane. As soon as I heard that person ask, "Are you Mrs. Kanika Kaustubh Rane?" my heart sank. I knew what that call was. Just to clarify, it was a call to tell me that my husband had committed the highest service towards our nation while fighting terrorists at the LOC. I did not know how to react. I did not know what to do. My entire life came falling down on me. I could literally see that I was going into an abyss with no depth. I was falling aimlessly. I was lost. I was shattered. And I didn't know where to go and what to do. By that time, we had a son who was 1.5 year old that time. His second birthday was coming up, and I had taken a promise from Major Rane that he would be present for his birthday because he had missed his first birthday as he was busy in one of the operations in Kashmir. But just a few days before his birthday, he told me that he cannot make it because his unit needs him. He told me that it is more important for him to serve his nation than attend his son's birthday, which he thought that he will be able to do a lot of times later. But destiny obviously had different plans for my family. When they told me what had actually occurred in that incident, all I had was anger for my husband. Anger at his impudence to actually go ahead and do something which I had asked him and pleaded actually not to do it. They told me that when they spotted the terrorists, instead of staying in his bunker, my husband got out because the terrorists were getting away and he didn't want that to happen. For the longest time after I got that news, I could not understand what I was doing. I literally was having an out of body experience. For months, I could not relate to things that were happening close to me. But I knew that there is one person who needs me the most right now, and that was my son. Who would answer his questions? Who would take care of him? That was the question standing and staring at me on my face. And I knew that I had to lock my grief up. I had to throw that down deep inside my heart if I wanted to make sure that my son knew how to fight in this life, how to achieve what you want. I didn't want him to look at me as somebody who needed help. I wanted him to look at me as somebody who knew the way out. And that is what I decided to do. I had a long working experience in corporate. I have worked with different sectors in different companies in different positions. So I was on my path of achieving the first and the initial dream that I had of making a business, of starting my own company. But when this thing happened, when this incident happened, all I could understand is this: how minuscule, how trivial are these dreams of ours? How insensitive are we towards our own dreams, our own passions? Why is it that our own lives matter more than the lives of others? And that is when I decided that such a dream is not something that would ensure that my husband is proud of me. And that is when I decided that I will follow in his path because I wanted to understand. I wanted to understand his mindset when he was in that operation. I wanted to understand why he did what he did. And I am proud. I am proud to stand over here today and tell you that I have understood why he did what he did. When this opportunity was given to me that I have a chance of joining Indian Army, I thought about it. I am sorry to say it was not a decision that was made in passion. It was not a decision that was made in a minute. I took my time because I wanted to ensure that whenever I take a decision, I take it with my entire heart and mind. Once I decided that this is what I wanted to do, I started working on myself because I knew getting into Indian Army is not easy. I knew that to get into the armed forces, I had to ensure that I was worthy of it. At that time, due to the grief that I had faced, I was severely malnourished. I was around 42 kgs of weight with severe dark circles, sunken eyes, and that was not something that I wanted to put forth. I trained myself to be able to stand in front of the board and ensure and to relate to them why is it important and why am I worthy of getting this uniform. Thankfully, my efforts, my work, my hard work paid off, and I was selected to join the Officers Training Academy, Chennai. Again, the next question came The academy is a 52-week course. During that time, where would my son be? But I could not let myself be deterred by that. I left my son behind. I promised him that once I come back, I will ensure that you get your entire mother and father back, but just give me those few weeks. My son was too young to understand that, but I am thankful that he did allow me those precious moments of my life. Once inside the academy, I understood how ruthless the academy actually is. It turns a mere civilian into an army officer. And for that, you need to go through rigorous training exercises. The academy is not forgiving. It does not take in where you're coming from, what is your history. What it knows is what it will make you next. So, like all the other cadets there, I started doing the most arduous training in the world. Thankfully, through the support of my course mates, my husband's colleagues, I could get through the academy. The academy taught me two things. The first thing was, we are capable of doing more than we think we are. If you think, whenever I fell down, I got up. Whenever I thought that I could not do it, I did it. Whenever I thought that this was becoming too much, I pushed those boundaries because I realized that those boundaries existed only in my brain. It did not exist in reality. The more I pushed myself, the more those boundaries widened. And the second thing that the academy taught me is the true meaning of the word perseverance. Many a time we come across various aspects of life in which we think we are persevering, in which we think that we are doing our best. But then again, that is not it. Perseverance requires your entire strength, not only physical, but mental as well. So, until and unless we know what we want to do, we cannot judge on the path. And that is what Academy has taught me. To wear this uniform, I have peeled my back, broken my shoulders, torn my knees, scraped my hands, and that is how today I am wearing this uniform. When those two stars descended on my shoulder, I felt that my husband is there with me. I thought and I felt that the bond that I share with my husband only grew stronger. From a person who took out her car for just a 5-minute drive down the road, for a person who would walk only in high heels in AC cars, here I was, in my combat boots, in my uniform, ready to do whatever is asked of me, without caring for what luxury or comfort lay ahead, because that was the life that I had left behind me. My husband always called me high maintenance, and he was very proud of that. He said that you are so high maintenance that I feel less capable of doing that. And I am high maintenance. I'm thankful for that. It was because of this high maintenance that I could get through some of the most rigorous training exercises in the academy. I'm proud of where I'm standing today because it took a lot of courage, a lot of effort, a lot of hard work from my part, from my son's part, to let me achieve and come over here. I'm sure my husband would have been happy had I even pursued the dreams which I had already thought for myself. But I know and I'm sure that he's more proud today. And for that, I'm thankful for making a decision that I did at that point of my life. Today, as a captain in the Indian Armed Forces, I finally understand the love my husband had for his country. I finally understand the reason why he did what he did at that point of time. And I completely agree, because had I been in his place, I would have done the same. I am proud of the fact that my husband loves this country more than he loves me, because today I feel I also love the country more than I love anything else in this world. And I am bound and I am ready to do anything that comes my way to ensure its integrity and sovereignty. As a woman, as an army officer, as a mother, as a wife, when I have seen so many different aspects of life, I can understand that Not everything is planned. It is you and only you who can change where you are. It is you and only you who can bring yourself out of any depth, any fallback that you are in right now. Do not rely on others to achieve your dreams, to give you happiness. Rely on yourself. Have that one person if you want, but always be that one person for yourself. Thank you.
Tell us what you think about this video and don't forget to like, share and subscribe.